There are reports today that Iranian police used tear gas to break up a gathering at a cemetery outside Tehran. The ceremony was meant to commemorate protesters who were killed in the protests following Iran's disputed presidential election last month. Karim Sadjadpour is with the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace and joins us now here in the studio. A number of reasons. It is 40 days since Neda's death, Neda Agha Sultan, who became such an important symbol, the martyr of the movement. Are they now looking for any pretext to create a symbolic moment on the streets?
Well, that's exactly it, Andrea. In Shiite Islam, you have commemoration ceremonies on the 3rd day, the 7th day, and the 40th day of someone's death. And so many people have been killed over the last 6 weeks that the protesters are looking for opportunities to come out and continue to voice their sense of injustice and their sense of anger.
What do we know about what is happening inside the prisons? We hear horrific stories about the torturing and the abuse and the murder of prisoners, political prisoners.
Well, European embassies I'm in touch with in Tehran say that the official numbers which the Iranian regime has released on the amount of people in prison are vastly underestimated, whereas the regime claims that tens of individuals have been killed and hundreds imprisoned. What we hear unofficially is that thousands are in prison and hundreds have been killed, and there have been brutal allegations of torture, even images of torture.
And what about the release? Some 100+ prisoners released in the last 24 hours. Is this a sign that the regime is concerned about the reaction on the streets, the reaction politically, that they've gone too far?
To an extent, but I think this latest gesture was simply cosmetic. They're trying to project a more magnanimous image, but again, I think thousands remain in prison. And actually, there's a U.S. citizen in an Iranian prison, Kian Tajbakhsh, who's a Columbia University educated urban planner, is in a in Iranian prison right now.
And is what we're seeing on the streets today, how do you assess the ability of the protesters to either create changes, political changes, real regime change? Is probably too much to expect, but is there a crack that you see in both the clerical leadership and Ahmadinejad's support?
The problem the opposition faces right now is that there's this tremendous popular outrage, but they haven't really been able to tap into that because the bulk of the opposition is either in prison, under house arrest, or unable to freely communicate. So the people are looking for leadership, but the opposition hasn't really been able to provide that so far. And I think the cracks which we should keep an eye out on is not necessarily amongst the clerical elite. We're already have seen deep fissures amongst the clerical elite, but it's among the security elements, the Revolutionary Guards. I've been told behind the scenes there are major fissures, but so far they haven't come out into the public forum yet.
And the United States, of course, and the British are all afraid to say too much because they're afraid it will backfire and only make matters worse for the protesters.
That's right. And what I would suggest to the Obama administration, immediately after the elections, the United States was reluctant to directly intervene because we didn't want to hurt the cause of those whom we wanted to champion. I think we should keep with that same philosophy and not immediately rush to engagement, because we could implicitly endorse the election results and tip the balance in favor of the hardliners in Tehran.
Karim Sadjadpour, thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrea.
Good to see you.